He abandoned his pregnant wife in labor for a mistress unaware. She held a $50 inheritance. The first pain was a white-hot wire slicing through the gentle, dreamlike haze of her final pregnancy yoga video. Nadia gasped, her hand flying to the enormous curve of her belly. "Leo?" she called out, her voice trembling with a mixture of fear and exhilarating anticipation. Leo, her husband of 3 years, was in his study, the blue glow of his laptop screen reflecting off his handsome, focused face. He was always working, always chasing the next big deal. Nadia admired his ambition, even when it left her eating dinner alone. "Leo, honey, I think it's time." He didn't look up. "Time for what, babe? The documentary? Just record it." "No, Leo," she said, her voice firmer now, as another contraction began to build, a tidal wave of pressure. "It's time. The baby is coming." That got his attention. He finally swiveled in his chair, a flicker of annoyance crossing his features before he smoothed it into a mask of concern. "Now? Are you sure? The doctor said first babies are always late." "I'm sure," Nadia panted, leaning against the doorframe as the wave crested and broke. "We need to go to the hospital, now." The journey to the hospital was a blur of streetlights and clenched teeth. Leo drove with a tense silence, his phone lighting up repeatedly on the console. He'd glance at it, his jaw tightening, then dismiss the notification. "Everything okay at work?" Nadia managed to ask, breathing through the pain as she'd been taught. Yeah, fine. Just a big client." "Nerves," he said, his voice distant. They were checked into a delivery room, the sterile, bright lights, a stark contrast to the warm, dimly lit nursery they'd prepared at home. A kind older nurse named Brenda fussed over Nadia, monitoring her vitals, offering ice chips, while Leo paced near the window, a live wire of nervous energy. "You're doing amazing, sweetheart," Brenda murmured to Nadia, wiping her brow with a cool cloth. "Just breathe. Dad," she said, turning to Leo, "why don't you come hold her hand? She needs your strength." Leo forced a smile and came to Nadia's bedside. He took her hand, but his grip was loose, his skin cold. His phone buzzed again, violently, in his pocket. He flinched. "You should take that," Nadia whispered, her eyes closed against the pain. "It might be important." He didn't need to be told twice. He dropped her hand as if it were a hot coal. "I'll just be a minute, right outside." He left the room. The minutes stretched into 5, then 10. Nadia's contractions were coming faster, harder, a relentless storm crashing against the shores of her body. She began to panic. "Brenda? Where's my husband?" Brenda's kindly face tightened. "I'll go find him, dear." She returned a few moments later, her expression unreadable. "He's on a call. He said it's critical. He'll be right in." But he wasn't. An hour passed. The doctor arrived, the room filled with more nurses. Nadia was pushing, her world narrowed to a tunnel of pain and effort. She needed Leo. She needed his voice, his hand to crush, his presence to anchor her in this terrifying, beautiful tempest. "Where is he?" she cried out between pushes, her voice raw. Brenda leaned close, her eyes filled with a pity that made Nadia's blood run cold. "I'm here, darling. I'm right here. Look at me. You are so strong. You can do this." And she did, without him. At 3:17 Nadia gave birth to a perfect, squalling baby girl. As they laid the tiny, warm, miraculous creature on her chest, a love so profound and fierce it stole her breath washed over her, she named her Lily. And in that sacred, exhausted, euphoric moment, she almost forgot he was missing. The moment shattered when the door to the room creaked open. Leo stood there, his shirt wrinkled, his hair dishevelled. He didn't look at the baby in her arms. He didn't look at her. "Nadia?" he said, his voice flat, devoid of the wonder she felt. I have to go. She stared at him, her brain refusing to process the words. Go. Go where? Leo, meet your daughter. Her name is Lily. He glanced briefly at the baby, a flicker of something not joy, not love, but perhaps inconvenience crossing his face. I have to go. It's the client. It's a disaster. I'll lose everything. Tears, hot and bitter, welled in Nadia's eyes, mingling with the sweat of her labour. You will lose everything, she whispered, her voice cracking. Look at her, Leo. This is everything. Your wife and your newborn daughter are right here. But his mind was already gone. He was already out the door, in that car, driving away from his family. He leaned down and placed a dry, perfunctory kiss on her forehead. I'm sorry. I'll be back as soon as I can. He turned and walked out. The door swung shut behind him with a soft, final click. It was the sound of a world ending. Nadia held Lily closer, the baby's soft whimpers the only sound in the crushing silence. The woman who had pushed a human being into the world was gone. In her place was something new, something broken, and something, deep in the marrow of that brokenness, began to harden into stone. All right, family, pause right here. I need to know, what would you have done in that delivery room? Let me know in the comments below. And if your heart is already breaking for Nadia, smash that like button. It tells the YouTube algorithm that stories with real, powerful lessons need to be seen. The 6 weeks that followed were a special kind of hell. Leo was travelling for work. His calls were brief, his texts devoid of emotion. He missed Lily's first bath, her first smile, though Nadia told herself it was gas, her first everything. Nadia was drowning in newborn exhaustion and a soul-deep loneliness. Her only solace was Lily's warm weight against her chest and the weekly letters. The letters were her secret. They arrived every Tuesday in a plain, cream-coloured envelope with no return address, only her name written in a elegant, spidery script. They were from her paternal grandmother, a woman of immense old money wealth she had never met, a woman her father had estranged himself from when he'd chosen to marry for love, not legacy. Her father had passed away when Nadia was young, and her mother had followed soon after, their love story ending in tragedy. Nadia had been raised by her mother's kind but simple family, never knowing the world of privilege she was born into. The letters had started a year ago, a tentative reaching out from a lonely old woman who had regretted her pride too late. They wrote of everything and nothing. Books, art, philosophy, the silly things Lily did. Her grandmother, Agatha, was sharp, witty, and through her words, Nadia felt a connection she'd never had with anyone else, not even Leo. This Tuesday, the letter was different. It was thicker, heavier. My dearest Nadia, if you are reading this, then I have finally left this world. Do not be sad for me. I am at peace, and I am finally with my son, your father, whom I loved more than life itself, even if my actions did not show it. My greatest regret was allowing my pride to keep me from knowing him, and you. I have spent this last year falling in love with the woman you are through your words. You are strong, kind, and resilient. You have a moral compass that is rare and true. I know of your husband's neglect. A grandmother has her ways of knowing these things. Which brings me to the purpose of this letter. My entire estate, valued at just over $50 million, is yours, unconditionally. It is held in a trust managed by my lawyer, Mr. Sterling, whose details are enclosed. It becomes fully accessible to you upon my death. There is, however, one condition I have placed upon myself, not you. I have instructed Mr. Sterling to ensure that your husband, Leo, is to receive not a single cent. He is to be kept entirely in the dark until the moment you choose to reveal it. He abandoned you at your most vulnerable. He does not deserve the legacy of my family. He does not deserve you. Use this money to build a beautiful life for you and my great-granddaughter Lily. Be happy, be free. With all my love, from beyond, Grandmother Agatha. Nadia's hands shook. The paper fluttered to the floor of her modest kitchen. $50 million. The number was so vast it was meaningless. It was abstract, but the meaning behind it was crystal clear. She was free. She wasn't the abandoned wife in a rented apartment, counting pennies for diapers. She was Nadia, heir to a fortune. And Leo, the man who had left her for a client, was a pauper in comparison and didn't even know it. A cold, calculating calm settled over her. The raw, weeping pain of the last 6 weeks iced over into a glacier of pure, focused intention. She picked up her phone. She would play her part. She would be the worried, needy wife. She called Leo. He answered on the 4th ring, background noise of clinking glasses and laughter behind him. Nadia, now's not a good time. Leo, please, she said, layering her voice with a desperate tremor she no longer felt. I need you. We're running out of money. My maternity leave pay isn't enough. When are you coming home? She could almost hear his eye roll. I told you, this deal is taking longer than expected. Just put some things on credit. I'll handle it when I get back. I miss you, she whispered, the lie tasting like ash and power. A female voice, high and giggling, called out in the background, Leo, darling, who is that? Hurry up, our champagne is getting warm. The line went dead. Nadia slowly lowered the phone. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She walked to the mirror and looked at the woman staring back at her. Tired eyes, hair in a messy bun, wearing a milk-stained robe. She looked like a victim, but she wasn't. Not anymore. She was the spider, and Leo was flying blindly into her web. This is the turn, right? The moment where everything changes. But here's a question for you. Would you have told him right then, revealed the inheritance and watched him grovel? Or would you have done what Nadia is about to do? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more twists. The next phase was executed with military precision. First, she hired a private investigator. The truth was as sordid and cliché as she'd suspected. The critical client was a woman named Chloe. A 5-year-old socialite and influencer Leo had met at a networking event. The PI's photos showed them laughing in expensive restaurants, shopping on Rodeo Drive, kissing in the dim light of hotel bars. Leo wasn't working. He was playing house with a younger, richer-looking model, funded, no doubt, by the last of their joint savings. Next, she met with Mr. Sterling, a man with the demeanour of a granite tombstone and the legal mind of a razor blade. The money was real. It was hers. She instructed him to keep her identity as the beneficiary utterly secret. She then had him draw up new paperwork for a business investment. She called Leo again. This time, her voice was different. Not desperate, but excited, hopeful. Leo, amazing news! Remember my grandmother, the one I write to? She passed away. Oh, sorry to hear that, he said, his voice dripping with disinterest. Well, she left me a little something in her will, not a fortune or anything, she said, layering her words with just the right amount of modest pride. But enough. About $200,000. I was thinking, I know your business has been struggling. What if I invested some of it in you? In us? Maybe half of it? The silence on the other end of the line was deafening. She could hear the gears turning in his head. $100,000 wasn't $50 million, but it was a lifeline to a drowning man. A man who was burning through his mistress's patience along with his cash. Nadia, that's incredible, he said, his voice suddenly warm. The the voice of the man she'd fallen in love with, the manipulator. "Are you sure?" "Of course. We're a team, right?" she said, pouring on the sweetness. But the lawyer said, "I need to be smart. He's drawn up a proper investment contract. You'll have to sign it. It just says the money is for your business and outlines the terms of repayment. Standard stuff." Leo, smelling what he thought was easy money, agreed instantly. "Whatever you need, honey. I'll sign it. This is going to change everything. I'll be home soon, I promise. I can't wait to see you and the baby." He arrived home 2 days later, a bouquet of gas station flowers in his hand. He looked at Nadia with a performative warmth that made her skin crawl. He played with Lily for 5 minutes for the first time, snapping pictures for his social media. Number family man, number blessed. He barely glanced at the contract Mr. Sterling had drawn up. It was, as Nadia had said, a standard investment agreement. But buried in the complex legal jargon was a single devastating clause. In the event of the dissolution of marriage, the invested sum shall be immediately repayable in full with interest and shall be considered a personal debt of Leo Mercer, separate from any marital assets. He signed it with a flourish, already mentally spending the money on Chloe. Nadia transferred the funds, watching with a cold smile as he immediately transferred $5,000 to a Chloe Roberts. The trap was set. The bait was taken. This is where it gets dangerous. Leo thinks he's playing chess, but Nadia is 10 moves ahead. Have you ever had someone severely underestimate you? Tell me about it in the comments. I read every single one. Nadia bided her time. She used a tiny fraction of the $100,000 to do up the apartment and Lily's nursery. She also hired a nanny, started taking classes, rebuilding her body and her mind. She became a version of herself she'd forgotten existed. Vibrant, confident, powerful. All while maintaining the facade of the struggling, loyal wife for Leo's occasional calls. Their marriage was a mirage that was getting bleaker by the day. The end began, as it often does, with a social media post. Chloe, in a fit of pique after a fight with Leo, decided to make him jealous. She posted a series of photos from a lavish vacation in Bali, and there, in the background of several shots, was Leo. His arm around her waist, kissing her neck, raising a cocktail to the camera. The timestamps were from the week Lily was born. Nadia saved every image. She screen-recorded the stories. She had her final evidence. The next day, she called Leo and mentioned the lawyer wanted to meet to review some extra documents pertaining to the ongoing business investment and another possible investment. He arrived, eyes wide at the upscale building. "Business must be good," he said, a greedy glint in his eye. "It is," Nadia said smoothly. "Sit down, Leo. We need to go over the documents." Mr. Sterling, staring like a hawk, poured him a drink. Then Nadia picked up the remote and turned on the large television mounted on the wall. The first photo appeared, Leo and Chloe, kissing in Bali. His face drained of colour. "Nadia, that's not what it looks like. She's a client. We were closing a deal." The next photo flashed. Him and Chloe in the hospital parking lot, the timestamp clear. The night Lily was born. He was kissing her, his hands on her face, while Nadia was inside, pushing his child into the world. His excuses died in his throat. "You abandoned me," Nadia said, her voice not loud but absolute, filling the room like a winter frost. "You abandoned your daughter. For that," she said the word with such distilled contempt it made him flinch. "I'm sorry," he stammered, truly panicked now. "It was a mistake, a moment of weakness. I'll end it today. I'll come back. We can be a family." Nadia laughed, a cold, hollow sound. "A family? With you? You are a pitiful, weak man, Leo, and you are broke." "What are you talking about?" "The business, your investment." Ah, yes, my $100,000 investment, the one you immediately used to fund your affair. How is Chloe, by the way? I hope she enjoyed the handbag you bought her with my money. Leo's eyes widened in dawning horror. How do you know that? Mr. Sterling picked up a tablet and opened the document. He zoomed in on the clause Leo had missed. He read it aloud, every word a nail in his coffin. Nadia picks up the tablet. You see, Leo, she said, her voice like ice, you owe me $100,000 plus interest. It's not an investment, it's a debt. Mr. Sterling then silently slides the formal demand letter across the table. And as we are now dissolving this farce of a marriage, it is due immediately. Mr. Sterling slid over some more documents. Leo was hyperventilating. You set me up! You bitch! I protected myself, she corrected him calmly, from you. But the money, Leo sputtered, his mind breaking. The rest of your grandmother's money, we can use it to pay the debt. We can start over. Nadia looked at the broken man before her. My grandmother's money, she said, a slow, devastating smile spreading across her face. Oh, Leo, you poor foolish man. You didn't think $200,000 was all she left me, did you? The truth hit him like a physical blow. He staggered back. The $200,000 was a test. One you failed spectacularly, she continued. My grandmother, Agatha Blackwood, left me everything, $50 million. And you, in your monumental greed and stupidity, signed a contract that makes you my debtor. You are not my husband. You are a line item on my financial statement, a bad investment I'm about to write off. Mr. Sterling is very good. He'll ensure you repay every cent, even if he has to liquidate your failing business and garnish your wages for the next 20 years. The psychological devastation was complete. His eyes bulged, his mouth opened and closed, but no sound came out. The scale of his error, the magnitude of the fortune he had thrown away for a cheap affair, the sheer, brilliant ruthlessness of her revenge, it collapsed his world entirely. All he could think about was not his mistress Chloe or his lost family, but the $50 million inheritance he would never touch. He was nothing. Mr. Sterling pressed a button on the intercom. Security? Please see Mr. Mercer out. He is not to be permitted on the premises again. As two large security guards appeared at the door, Leo finally found his voice. It was a broken, pathetic whisper. Nadia, please! She didn't even look at him. She was looking at a picture of her daughter on her phone, smiling, her face filled with love and a future he would never be part of. Goodbye, Leo. The guards escorted him out. Nadia walked to the floor-to-ceiling window. She watched as her ex-husband, a hollowed-out shell of a man, stumbled down the street into obscurity, finally getting exactly what he deserved. Nadia stands in a sun-drenched art studio years later. She's confident, radiant, her paintings bold, beautiful, and expensive adorn the walls. A young Lily, now 5, is painting happily in the corner. Nadia turns to the camera, a gentle but firm expression on her face. Your value is not determined by those who abandon you. Your strength is not defined by your lowest moments. Betrayal can either break you or forge you into something sharper, smarter, and unbreakable. Never give anyone the power to write your ending. Your life is your masterpiece. Paint it boldly. She smiles, a genuine, peaceful smile, and walks over to her daughter, kissing the top of her head. What did we learn from Nadia's story? Was her revenge justified, or did she go too far? Could you have been that calculated? Let's have a real discussion down in the comments. Share your strongest takeaways. If you believe in karma and stories that deliver justice, hit that like button subscribe, and turn on notifications because you don't want to miss the next story. Remember, the best revenge is a life lived well, but a little legal and psychological maneuvering never hurts. Until next time, family, stay strong.